Hello and welcome to a heads up on the cloud and Office 365 for education. My name is Mark Reynolds and I'm the school's business manager here for Microsoft in the UK, and I'm going to be trying to help you understand with a 5-minute video what the cloud means for schools and how you can sign up to some free cloud services from Microsoft. Thanks for finding us on the Heads Up YouTube channel. And if you've not hit subscribe yet, please do so, and then all future videos will flag up when you log on. So, as I said, we're going to talk about the cloud today. I've done this presentation many times. Normally it takes about an hour, so I'm going to attempt to compress that down, make it nice and simple, and not use too many jargony terms, because one of my real frustrations when I hear people talking about the cloud is they often make it sound some new, complex, difficult thing. And really, it's not that hard to understand at all. So, I'm a governor at my son's primary school, and we often have conversations about ICT. They look to me to kind of help out and give them advice. But often we've had conversations when people say, we should be in the cloud. We should be doing cloud. And what we're trying to say with this slide here is there's no decision you have to make to be either for cloud or against cloud. Okay, it's not a vote. There's lots of great things about the cloud, and we'll cover some of them today. But we're not talking about picking up all the IT schools have developed over the last 20 or 30 years and moving it overnight into the cloud. So I really like the idea of this term, cloud on your terms. So we think at Microsoft there'll still be a mix for a while yet of some locally installed software you have in your school and some things you use from the cloud, and that's fine. Yeah, maybe the balance will start to go like this over time, whereas you might be up here, the locally installed in your school stuff now, and cloud down here. Over time, you'll probably see that change and develop, but you should only really look at the cloud when either it gives a better service than your students or your teachers can get today, or perhaps it can save you money. They're normally the two main reasons that schools start looking at the cloud. The bit we're going to focus on when we get to the Office 365 part of this presentation are the bits Exchange, Link and SharePoint. You're not going to see much of Link, but I'm using Link today to run this online meeting and make this recording. So, maybe think about how you in your school might save and record lessons in a similar way. We'll talk briefly about SharePoint, and also Exchange is what provides email and free email in the cloud. So Office 365 has been available to businesses for a year or so now, and about a month ago we released Office 365 for education. As I've said, the component bits are mostly familiar to you and to students and teachers in your school. So you get the Office web applications, so they're kind of web-based versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So that's a really good example of the cloud just being a familiar thing that you're already used to using, but delivered in a different way. So Office in the cloud just means you go to a web browser and you run your Word or your Excel application within that web browser. Okay, you don't need to always think, have I got the right version installed on my phone, on my PC, on my iPad, my tablet, later on maybe on the TV even. Okay, you know that your Word document's accessible because it's being delivered from the cloud to anywhere that can connect to the internet. Exchange is for email, so with Office 365 you get free Outlook-based email for all your teachers and your students if you want, and everybody gets a 25 gig inbox. So if you don't understand what a gig is, don't worry, it's a lot of space. Okay, you're never going to run out of email space with 25 gig per teacher. Link is what I'm using, as I said, to record this. That lets you do voice, video and online meetings. So kind of think about the business version of Skype is a good way to describe that. And SharePoint lets you store documents, share them and collaborate. So a lot of the jobs you might be using a VLE or a learning platform at the moment. All of these products could have been used previously installed locally. So you might buy a server or your IT people might get a server. They might install something that runs email or something that runs video conferencing and run it on a local server in your school. What we're enabling you to do is to have all of those services, but they're being looked after and backed up and monitored and maintained by Microsoft in a Microsoft data center. The other thing that I haven't mentioned yet that's brilliant about Office 365 is that everything I've talked about so far today is completely free. So you can go, or your technical people can go to microsoft.com/Office365 and get free Word, Excel, PowerPoint in the cloud, get free Outlook email from the cloud, free online meetings with voice and video, and a free place to store and share documents. So that might be, an area per subject, an area per year group, or I'm a governor, as I said, at my son's primary school, and we have a governor's area where we share and collaborate. Another thing people ask when we talk about the cloud is where that actually is. So where's my stuff kept? It's an important question to ask. So if a company knocks on your door and they want to sell you a cloud service, I'd always ask, where is your data center? Okay, it's an important thing to know. The Microsoft data centers for UK schools are in Dublin, and there's a failover to Holland, to Amsterdam. So if there's any problems in the Dublin data center, there's a copy of your email data or your documents held in Holland. But the important thing is they're both within the EU. And EU data protection rules are a bit different to US safe harbor, for example, or other rules around data protection and security. So all of our cloud services for UK schools hosted in the EU, but in general, if you're walking around the vet show or you're talking to a company on the phone about a cloud service, finding out where is their cloud is an important thing to think about. The other point that we've made on this slide that people worry about when we talk about cloud is who owns the data. Okay, and the Microsoft Cloud Services always, the data is yours. We're just giving you that platform to run it on. Okay, so we're not going to be collecting information about your users. We're not going to be mining your data for advertising or any of those things. So you can be confident that we're giving you a platform to run this service, but it always remains your own data. That's been a very, very quick heads up about what is the cloud and what is Office 365. To sign up, you go to microsoft.com/Office365, or you can go into your next governor's meeting or the next meeting with your technical folk and say, what are we doing about the cloud? And have we heard about Office 365? If they haven't, encourage them to sign up for a trial and learn about what it can do for your school. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon.